Hi. So I want to talk today about self-love. I want to talk about what that really means, why it's often so difficult to apply, to experience, and how we can actually more readily, more easily, more gracefully self-love. So first of all, just in general, self-love is to love all dynamics of ourself. All the different ways that we may show up in this world in our conditioning, our programming, our wounding, maybe in our trauma, habitual behaviors, triggered reactions, fears, anxieties, doubts, not maybe living our lives in our fullest potential. So not being as adequate as we would like to be. Loving all the ways that we are human, that we are spiritual, loving all the ways that we are a human spiritual being. The love part is very important to understand what that is and what that means. We're not talking about mentally loving all the different parts of ourselves, reasoning why we should love them. Well, I love that part of myself because it actually serves me in this way, or I love that part of myself because it's the right thing to do. What I'm talking about here in the work of non-duality, the journey of non-duality, of self-realization, we come to realize self, true self, as love. Not a mental construct of love, not a mental attempt at love, but the purity of divine love. That's actually what we are. And bringing that love to meet, to hold space for, to have compassion for, to have true love for all the different parts of ourselves that may show up, to be heard, to be understood, to be cared for, to be loved. Our personal love, me just trying to love all the different parts of myself, is trying to love all the different parts of myself, and it's always going to be conditional. Because it's got stories around what is lovable, what is not. Oh, that part of me, oh, that one's too hard to love. Oh, this part of me, okay, yeah, all right, I can love that. But this other part, that's too hard. And I'm working on loving that part of me. We hear that often, right? I'm working on loving that part of me. Divine love doesn't work to love anything. It loves everything. You can think of that love, the one love that we are, as in a state of allowing. Ram Dass called it unconditional loving awareness. The presence of love, aware of, accepting, allowing for all the vagaries of life and all the vagaries of our own human, emotional, and mental dynamics. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about love. True love, not my love and my attempt at love and trying to be more loving. That's just trying to be more loving and going, oh man, I don't know. My conditioning is telling me that this loving that part of me, oh, that's too hard. That's too difficult. I still carry shame around that part of me. So now shame is fighting with love to meet the moment. So we're not talking about our personal love. We're talking about the love. Knowing that, abiding that, accepting that, and bringing that to that which wants to be loved. So, the analogy I want to bring today is the analogy of a healthy parent. Imagine a parent and a child relationship, and imagine the parent being love. Unwavering, unconditional love, no matter what. And you can imagine in that dynamic this ideal of a healthy parent never shaming the child for feeling whatever the child is feeling. Never making wrong all the different dynamics of a way that a child may show up. Afraid, uncertain, and that anxiety, that fear, that not knowing, that not feeling safe might then elicit a reaction or a behavior. And imagine the loving parent not trying to shame that behavior or immediately make it go away, but imagine if that parent was always curious and loving and asking, tell me about that. Tell me about what you're feeling. Tell me about it. I'm really interested. I'm really curious. I want to know. I want to help you with this. I want to help you, the child, understand what's happening here. So, self-love. This comes up a lot in my sessions with people. I'll hear, yeah, the other day I was really, we're just going to call it anxiety. It can show up in fear, doubt, uncertainty, overwhelm, all manner of different things that a human can feel. We're going to just call it anxiety here today. And oftentimes I will have my clients, students, show up and say, boy, the anxiety, I had these feelings arise that were so powerful and so strong that they were overwhelming. A very rare helicopter. And I couldn't get to my truth. I couldn't deal with it. I didn't know how to deal with it. I was just in the suffering of the feeling. Perhaps you can relate to this. When we have feelings that we don't like, that are uncomfortable, that we feel are limiting us in some way, making us not feel good, we want them to go away. So we tend to immediately meet those feelings and make them wrong. No, there's that feeling. Oh, that's a wrong feeling. Oh, that's one of those feelings I don't want. Oh, God, go away. I don't want you anymore. Go away. Imagine a parent saying that to a child that is showing up in fear or anxiety or uncertainty, not feeling safe. And imagine the parent saying, oh, that's ugly. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, go away. Go, stop it. We got to make that stop. And that's the orientation to the truth of what's arising, to the experience that's arising. An old wound, an old triggering, an old trauma, a conditioned feeling, a programmed response. Something is arising. It wants to be understood. It wants to be held. It wants to be loved, not shamed, not made wrong, not made to go away. You can imagine in the scenario of the parent and the child saying, I'm scared, I'm feeling this anxiety, and I don't want to do the thing that maybe I'm trying to do, and I don't want to do it. I'm too scared to do it. And the parent saying, stop it, get beyond that, that's a bad feeling. Don't you see how it's limiting you? Stop it. We got to fix it. We got to make it go away. What the child would really love is to have the parent say, oh, sweetheart, tell me about that. Tell me about the fear. What do you think the consequences are going to be of if you fail at this endeavor or you succeed? Or what are you afraid of? What do you want? What would feel good? Oh, the child's like, okay, thank you. You're helping me with this, but not by making it go away because it's wrong, but by loving what I'm feeling and wanting to understand it better and helping me understand it better. So, there are a couple of steps you can take when these feelings arise that want to be loved, and that maybe traditionally we've felt these things and thought, oh God, there's that feeling again. It needs to go away. So we're not going to do that anymore. The first step is in recognizing that when we feel small, disempowered, when we feel tight, kind of collapsed in on ourselves, we are not in alignment with our divine truth. We are not in alignment with the essential nature of love that we are. We are collapsed in a story of ourselves that is part of our conditioning or our programming or our trauma or our wounding. So we have to understand that first. And then when we feel that, to say, here's something that needs to be loved, that needs to be met with love. So, first thing I'm going to need to do is access true love before I start battling with this issue and this feeling and this and figuring it out and making it go away and fixing it. Before we do any of that, basically what we're saying is, put it aside. Tell the feeling, I'll be right back. I'll be with you in a moment. I'm not going to ignore you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be with you. So you can just take a moment and pause. Tell this feeling, don't worry, you're going to get addressed. You're not going to be ignored. You're not going to be shunned. I'm going to deal with you, but give me a minute, because to deal with you, I need to access divine love. Now, if you have a practice in self-realization, if you have a practice in non-duality, if you have a practice, any practice that has helped you know the boundless peace and grace and stability of true love, you go there through the breath, through a meditation. You answer the question, who am I really? I am love. Okay. Now, as love, as boundless, unwavering, stable, beautiful love, I'm now going to meet that anxiety, and I'm not going to try to fix it or make it go away. I'm going to try to understand it. I'm going to ask it a few critical questions. These questions can change, but basically the questions are, what do you want to say? You're talking to the anxiety. What do you want to say? What are you feeling? What are you afraid of? Tell me about what you're feeling. And already the anxiety starts to go, wow, I'm not being shamed, I'm not being shunned, I'm not being made wrong. There's actually love here. Asking, tell me. It's like the beautiful parent saying to the child, tell me. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're afraid of. And then you can start to look and say, wow, tell me where this fear started. What experience in life, what situation, what relationship, what dynamic of your life, where did this fear get initiated? Where did this current belief that you have, this thought that you have, this illusion that is causing the anxiety, where did that come from? And can you start to see that what you are suffering is indeed a trauma? a conditioning. And I know the current situation is similar to that initial situation where the conditioning got started. But you're not a child anymore. And you're safe. And you don't have to believe what you came to believe way back then, when you got taught to be afraid, when you got taught to think poorly of yourself, when you got taught all manner of things about what it is to be acceptable and lovable in this world. So self-love is to bring honest, genuine, authentic, divine love to meet, to hold space for any emotional or mental disrupt that appears and wants to be understood, wants to be heard, wants to be given voice. So rested as that beautiful, loving, present, strong parent of love, you can speak to your own child within and say, tell me about your fear. Tell me all about it. Let's explore it. Let's understand it. And once we start to understand it, it's not in the shadows any longer. It loses its power. And this love, this divine love, is like a transmission. It'll transmit to that anxious, small, fearful part of you. That is basically saying, in the past, every time I showed up, I was made wrong, I was shamed. This feeling I feel was shamed, made wrong, told to go away, told to grow up, told to get over it, told to stop. And now it's not being told those things. It's being invited to speak, to share what it's feeling, how it learned to have this feeling. Where did that come from? And you can start to ask, what's true? What's true now? So, self-love. To bring true love, divine love, to all aspects of our self. And I'll review one more time before we wrap up here. When you feel anything that is clearly in need of some support, in need of some understanding, any emotion, any feeling that arises that feels small or disempowering, stop. Don't go right into it. Don't go right into fixing it. Don't go right into addressing it, making it go, trying to make it go away, fighting it. Tell it, look, thank you for showing yourself. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to be with you. We're not going to ignore this. We're not going to avoid this. But I need a moment because I need to find genuine, true, boundless love. Unconditional love. So with your practices of meditation, with your practices of using different analogies to feel that truth of being, self-inquiry, who am I really? The unconditional loving awareness that transcends this personal ego experience. Finding that true love, then you can turn back to the feeling and unwaveringly And with true, genuine, unconditional love, ask, what do you want to say? What do you need to express? What do you want me to know? How can I help? Where did you learn this fear? Who gave it to you? What's true now? All right, my friends. Blessings. Much love.